Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm adding Rachel Mallis now. Hi,
Hi,
Rachel.
how are you?
I'm great. I always forget how to do technology things in the moment.
Only in the
But welcome.
moment, I forget all the time.
See, I'm literally just clicking in random places right now. Okay, here we go. Magic, it's gone. There we go. Um, Thank you so much for joining us today, Rachel. I'm so excited to make these earrings with you. I'll add your overhead. There we go.
Yes.
Um, Rachel's been teaching. If you're new here, welcome. If this is your 40th class, welcome.
40, really?
I don't know. I'm
No
going to add it
way.
up. Probably we've been doing them weekly since June, I think. June or August.
hmm
It's been a sec. So Rachel's been teaching you've been teaching all the wire classes,
Yes.
um, which has been so far majority of the classes. And this pair of earrings we did way back in way early on.
Yeah, so we did a pair that's kind of the opposite of these. I had a pair laying around here somewhere, but I cleaned, so they're not there anymore. But we did these, yeah, probably way back in August. But we did them inverted. So like this, but with a bead right here and obviously not a brio at the top.
Yeah, they're
And
really
it was
pretty, and
it was a
people
popular
loved it.
class.
Yeah,
Mhm.
a lot of people, I think almost a record number of people posted the projects they made from that class to the Gem Chat group. Um, so Rachel and I were chatting, and we thought we would bring it back many months later in in a new way, and always a great chance to show a brio wrap, Rachel's favorite
With all
wrap,
the
which she
the
does
little
on
itty
any bead she
bitties.
can.
The brio
Yeah, this
wrap.
is like
I don't do them on any bead. But the thing is, it's so versatile. I feel like it just works on so many beads.
exactly no exactly that's what I'm saying. It's like your go-to for a weirdly drilled bead, but it's not
hmm
a round. Um, no, I like that this has the tiny beads and the brios.
And a huge brio.
Right. It's a good Rachel combo.
And I also want to preface with I there was a comment on one of the posts I had done about these that said, "Oh, I don't have any brios like that." So you can use any bead. You could use beads like this and put the head pin through and just angle them from the bottom like a little hot air balloon. I almost called these the hot air balloon earrings because
Oh, that's
they look
fun
like little hot
too.
air balloons to me. But so you can use whatever. You don't have to have brios if you don't have big brios. I was going to use these today. These are what did you call these? These are pink check
Those
glass daggers,
arrows, like the arrows.
arrows. Yeah, I thought those were cool. So we'll see if I can wrap these today. I haven't tried yet, actually.
Sweet. Oh, that'll be fun.
But you can literally use whatever you want. The main thing is the technique of the hoop. And I use any excuse to wrap some itty bitties around anything. I love them.
Yeah, the itty bitties have been become a staple of Sam's Bead Shop in the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. And Rachel's
Yeah,
really come up
they're a
with a lot of
staple of
projects
my
using that.
jewelry.
Wait, what did you say?
I said they're like a staple of my jewelry now too. I never even realized I needed tiny beads that bad. There was a
Well, I
point in
mean,
time I didn't have any tiny beads besides seed beads.
I
I've
just
had the
remember
same
when I
seed
first,
beads for 20 years.
there's something so special about it being a gemstone.
Yeah.
It looks wildly different than a seed bead. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's just been so cool to see the different directions you've taken the tiny beads and just made whole little worlds out of them.
Do you want to get
That's how it
started?
gets. I do.
Okay, so we're gonna go over. Hang on, I totally misplaced my. I'll get a new one. We're gonna go over what we'll need first. So I'm gonna be using 18 gauge wire to build the base, and you'll also need 26 gauge wire is what I used to do the wrapping. You can also use 24 if your beads have a big enough hole. If you're having to cram the wire in there, you're going to break the bead while you're wrapping. So that's why I said in the instructions you can use 26 or 24. If you can fit the beading comfortably, by all means, use 24 because we're also going to use 24 gauge up here. I selected that instead of 26 for up here just to give it a little bit more body to keep it from misshaping. 26 is a bit delicate. And we're also going to wrap the brio in either 26 or 24, just again, depending on what fits through the hole. These have pretty big holes, but briolette. Now I have to fix myself to say it the right way again. Briolette and
yeah.
Tiny beads, like you don't want to be cramming the wire into the hole. You will break it, and then you will be sad. I have a whole jar of sadness. I'll show you. This is my jar of sadness.
And cat whiskers, but we don't talk about that.
It's not that weird. They gifted them to me, but this is the design from last time. I found it next to my little bottle, or from last time.
Is that labradorite?
It's labradorite and the little howlite skulls. This is the dyed blue 3mm labradorite you had a while ago. They're like rondelles though. They're not really rounds. Anyway, okay, so 18 gauge wire, 24 gauge wire, and then 26 if the 24 is too big for your beads. We don't want to break any beads. Then you're going to need some itty bitty beads. You're going to need some ear wires, and you're going to need something to drop from the bottom. Like I said, you can use a brio. You can use a normal bead with a head pin, whatever you want to use. And then I'll just point out ahead of time that I am using kind of a complementing bead up top too, to kind of just tie the whole earring together, but you can use the same beads. That's the only reason I used a different one. And then tool-wise, you're going to need a marker or like a mandrel or what's it called? Bail making pliers. You're going to need round nose pliers and some flat needle nose, chain nose pliers, and flush cutters or regular cutters. I need to get a new pair. Sarah was right on the last week's stream where she was like, soft flex kills your flush cutters, and I think it might have been soft flex. Either that or I cut something else with them.
Oh, because this. Well, she was saying a certain type would kill.
The flush cutters.
Was she talking about flush cutters? I thought
know.
that was in response to something else.
No, she was talking about the cutters. She said she replaces them once a year for really, like once a year. Yeah. And then you're also going to need what I like to do with my wire, because it's all dead soft when I wrap it. I like to hammer it a little bit once it's in shape, just to kind of keep it from misshaping. Makes it a little bit easier to wrap too, because you're not worried about the wire bending, your base wire bending while you're like trying to wrap. Oh, she was saying memory wire ruins. No, but I think she said soft flex too. 2.2 millimeters should be perfect. I think, what millimeter were these? These were probably around 2 millimeters or 2.4 millimeters. I'm actually going to be using some 3mm pyrite today. I probably wouldn't go bigger than 4 millimeters, really 2 or 3. I think look best on this small of a hoop. If you're going to make your hoop a little bit bigger, then you can use bigger beads. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was reading the comments while I was speaking. Karen asks, if you use half hard wire, is the hammering necessary? It's kind of up to you. Let me see. I don't really use half hard on the 18 gauge a lot. I think I have some in this drawer. I think use your discretion. It's probably going to be fine even without hammering. I like hammering for the look. I think it's easier to wrap when it's a little bit flatter, and I think it just gives it a little bit more stability. But really, just use your discretion. Nobody's going to be taking these and folding them in half, hopefully. I don't know. Some people. But so you're also going to need a hammer And are we ready to get started?
Let's do it, Rachel.
All right. So I'm just cutting off a little end for my wire. This is the 18 gauge. I'll just straighten it out a little bit. And I'm just going to make a loop on the end. So it's going to be this loop right here. Just a normal single loop. And then I'm going to fix it. It's not quite flush like I want it to be. There we go. Okay. And then you're going to take your round nose pliers still, and you're going to bend over them like that. Or you can use your flat pliers too. It's like totally up to you. And this is just going to give us enough room to wrap the wire around. It's hard to see with my Band-Aid. I was sewing earlier, and anybody who sews knows that sometimes the pins get you, and it got me.
I was just admiring how pretty your Band-Aid was.
It's a frozen Band-Aid. See, they're sisters.
Cute.
Yeah. So,
oh my god, it's called a snowman.
I only buy children's Band-Aids. I don't like the regular ones. They make me sad. I'm like, if I'm going to be injured, I might as well have it cute. Okay, so then I'm going to take my Sharpie or your whatever you're using. One reason I like the Sharpie is because I can wrap this really tight and it'll stay in the groove where the cap meets the marker. And then after I'm all done, like wrapping around it, I can just take the cap off and take it off. So that's one reason I like using a Sharpie. Another reason is because I know it's already like kind of a big ask to have everyone, not everyone has like a jeweler's block, the little metal block and a hammer. So I try not to make us use too many tools that you wouldn't have, if that makes sense. Everybody's got a Sharpie or a really fat marker. So
or at least it's like you can try out the Sharpie for like when you're first trying the project, and then if you know it's like the sort of technique you're going to be doing a lot of, then you could always invest in a $20 pair of bail making pliers.
Yeah, I have the bail making pliers actually, and I still use the Sharpie. So
that's so
you're
funny.
gonna wrap this around. I really do like the groove in it, and then you're gonna.
I still use the Sharpie. You have me still using the Sharpie.
You're gonna wrap it around pretty tight, and you're gonna have to push down this part just to get it to meet. And then, so at this point, you can take it off of here, or you can leave it on. I'm gonna leave it on, and I'm gonna, because it's a little bit easier to mess with when it's on here too. So I'm just gonna wrap my wire around. It's giving me problems today. I'm wondering if I did accidentally grab half hard wire. You can also use your pliers to help you wrap, especially if maybe you have like carpal tunnel or anything, or arthritis. The pliers definitely help you wrap. I never have this much trouble ever. Jeez.
Your wire's giving you a run today.
It's fighting me. Did I grab the wrong wire? I make a zillion of these earrings. It's never like this. Okay, so you see, I can't get it off. But you take off the cap and it's like magic.
Oh, I love it. That was really satisfying.
I'm just going to snip it and tuck it. And then, so at this point, I would take it over to, and you can also, sometimes they'll look a little bit different up top. You can take your pliers and go in there. You can do any adjusting you need to do now. So if it wasn't exactly circular, you can, let me put the lid back on this before things happen. You can put it back on here and even like tap it with your hammer, or push it with your fingers. But I'm going to get my block out. This is sterling silver wire. It's oxidized. So I buy it shiny and then I blacken it with liver of sulfur. So it's like gray. And I'm just tapping this to kind of flatten it. And I'm going to flip it over and do the other side too. The bench block is like one of my favorite tools. I have had this for probably about 15 years, and I feel like it just opened up a new world for me. All right. You know what, Sam? I think this was 16 that I put back in the wrong container.
You just have a really sturdy frame today.
I know. I was like, this seems... Maybe it was.
I mean, technique is the same. So
no, it's totally 16. Look at that. No wonder I was having trouble. But we're going to do the second one. So I'm just starting it again. Bending to make my loop. You can take whichever pliers you use, you want to just use the same ones twice because you don't want your little gaps to be different sizes. All right, Shelby. You're so quiet today, Sam.
Oh, I'm just mesmerized.
Are you working along with us?
I'm not today. I am. I feel like I do a better job, like, you know, chatting and being human when I am not beading along. I think I do better when I'm beading on my own usually.
Yeah.
It's like when we do these like Zoom beading sessions in the group, in the gem chat
never
group.
get anything done ever.
And I can do one thing at a time. I can chat or I can bead. I cannot do both at the same time.
Oh, look how nice that wrap was. Wow, what a difference making the right wire or using the right wire makes. All right. And we're gonna flatten it. What was I gonna say? I feel like there was something I was gonna say about this. I'm not sure. And you can use whatever hammer you want. You can use a hammer you got at the hardware store. This hammer I got, somebody was selling them on their stoop in art school. Well, not selling them, but he was like getting rid of art supplies, and he sold me this hammer.
Score.
And
looks like
I love it.
Nice beefy hammer.
It's like definitely beat up, but I love it. Okay. So I'm going to really quickly actually do that one more time just so I have two that match. And I don't usually measure out the wire. I usually just kind of guesstimate, maybe like 6 inches. You don't want too much. It gets hard to work with. Especially when you've got a camera right.
Sorry, go ahead. So go ahead. You're actually showing helpful information.
No, I just said especially when you have a camera right here. It's harder to work with the camera right here. Sorry, I'm probably like making people dizzy doing that with my hands.
No, you've gotten good at this.
What were you saying?
Oh, I don't remember.
Guesstimate is guesstimate a real word?
I was just thinking, is that one of the stupid words that our generation came up with?
I feel like a teacher used it to me. I don't know. Yeah, this is 18 gauge wire.
Denture wire, 90 degrees.
Yes, I did. I eyeballed the spot I used last time. I tend to know which areas of my pliers I use. This is probably about 1/8 of an inch. Is usually what it ends up being. So just make sure you're doing it in the same spot. When it all comes down to it, like, unless it's a huge difference, nobody's going to notice. So don't be too hard on yourself. It's okay to be learning.
Karen says guesstimate is older than I am, so I guess our generation did not come up with that one.
I feel like I learned it from someone that was not my mother, so like a teacher or something.
Who is beading along with us today? Because one of our hopes with these classes is even if you're not working on this project today, hopefully this project is planning a seed of inspiration to do this project later, but hopefully today even you're working on a project of your own and beading with us. So drop a comment in the live here. Oh, we got lots of people beading along. Oh, yay.
Prudence asks, what inspires you to come up with your ideas? So, a few things. Sometimes a lot of the times it's beads, the beads themselves. And then sometimes I like a good theme. I feel like that's easier if I'm looking at a picture or something to just pull colors out of my bead boxes. But then sometimes I don't feel like doing anything at all. I'll make like ear wires or whatever, and maybe I'll come up with something else. I'm not one of those people that really can sketch. Like I might sketch something and it won't work. I'm always playing. Like I'd rather play with my hands. All right, so now we are going to get our 26 gauge wire, which I put over here. And these are about 12-inch pieces. I usually kind of just measure it on my bead mat, honestly. And I'm going to need my beads. Making a mess. So you don't want to work with too much because you might accidentally poke yourself in the eye. Not saying that from experience or anything. But you also don't want to get too little wire that you're going to have to like find a way to wrap on another strand. That is not fun to me. All right. Sharon, you could probably use 20 gauge wire and then just hammer it extra. That would probably work. Okay, so I have my wire. This is 26 gauge again. And I like to kind of just tuck it on one side. What happened? So that it's not going to move while I'm beading. It's fighting me now, though. There we go. So just keep it so the wire doesn't come off, your beads don't start sliding. You could wrap it around the top part. I'm kind of wishing I did now. And then I'm going to make, to start it off, I'm going to make 2 wraps around the wire. Actually, hang on. Let me adjust my hooked on piece because it's angering me. There we go. You don't want the piece that you hook on, you don't want the wire to be in the middle. That's going to make it hard for you to wrap. So now I'm going to come up. I like to bend the wire like this into the hoop. You can see that the sun is setting. You can't see anything.
No, this is the right technique because once Rachel recommended this to me, I stopped kinking my wire as much.
Yes, this keeps you from kinking it. So you flip it up through there, and then also you're not like going like this. That's a lot when you have a lot of wires. So, and then you just pull it through. So I'll show you again. That's the first wrap, the first tiny wrap we're going to do around there. This is just to anchor our wire, and then make a little loop like that. And pull it up and around. Now we're going to start our third loop. But before I go up and around, I'm going to grab a bead. The one tricky thing with this technique is just making sure that your beads stay on the outside. And also making sure that you're constantly pushing your beads to the side so you can fit as many as possible. All right, so I'm going to do that again. Push up a loop. And then I'm going to wrap around without getting another bead, just to make a little wrap in between them. I find that it helps everything stay where it's supposed to be. And I also like the look of it. I mean, we're obviously not trying to hide the wire on this project, so. I saw a couple questions. I hammered the frame to work hard in it. I also think it's a little bit easier to wrap when it's not perfectly round. It's a little easier to keep them up there and keep the wire in place because it's not just able to slip around. It's all different circumferences. And yeah, also to just kind of keep it in place. So harden it. It's a couple things. Okay, so I've got my bead on there. I'm coming through. And I'm coming around again to have that loop by itself. So I'm going to do this for a while. Sam?
Yeah, so
Sam?
I was just pulling up. Can you hear me? I was just pulling up the
I can hear
beads
you.
you were using.
It was
Using
so
3mm
quiet.
pyrites, right?
Yeah,
I
we're
just mute
using
myself because I'm a loud typer. So I'm gonna paste the link to the 3mm pyrites that Rachel's using.
Yeah, you also have these in stock, which I'm gonna be using. So
Oh, sweet! I'm shocked those are still available. Let me grab those.
they're so pretty.
I got them in 2 different colors right now. Cool. All right, I'll paste those too.
And you can also use a brio. These are the, I can't remember, 12 or 13 millimeter serpentines you had. And on the original pair also, these are the 2-point-something millimeter turquoise, stabilized turquoise that you had in last week. I will say if you're using something like turquoise, you don't want to pull too hard. I did break a couple of beads just because turquoise is a very soft stone.
Watch any good movies this week, Rachel?
Did I? No, actually, I worked late a lot this week and then I slept in. So they had to isolate all of the evening workers at my store. So they changed our hours and I would get home at like 4. So I did not do a whole lot interesting. Did we watch any movies? I watched Bedknobs and Broomsticks, but that's not like a new movie. Have you seen that?
I don't think so.
It's amazing. It's on Disney Plus. It came out around the same time as Mary Poppins, but Mary Poppins got a lot more attention than it. It
like
is
the original
one of my
Mary Poppins?
The original Mary Poppins. Bedknobs and Broomsticks is Angela Lansbury stars in it. You know, the voice of Mrs. Potts.
Yeah.
And she's in a lot of other stuff too, but just for our generation, she is the voice of Mrs. Potts. And so it's done very much in the style of Mary Poppins. It's got the same coloring. They have the same random scene with animated characters and real people. But so what it is basically it's set during, I don't remember if it's World War I or World War II.
Rachel, I distracted you from your rapping.
No, I was my comments had an arrow down and I'm like, oh, why am I not seeing the newest ones? But it was, which war? Anyway, it was one of the wars. It's set in England. And basically, Angela Lansbury is using magic to defeat the Nazis.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so it is World War II.
It is.
All right. But it's amazing. It's got songs in it.
It's a musical movie. Oh, fantastic. I'm sold.
Yeah, it's just like Mary Poppins, but Mary Poppins just got so much more attention than it. And I actually prefer it to Mary Poppins, honestly. I think it's a little bit quirkier.
You know the musical movie that I finally got my sister? This is if you're new here, Rachel and I like to babble while Rachel's rapping because it takes a second.
Oh yeah, this is, it would be so boring just watching me do this for the next.
Actually, but I'll zoom on you one more time just so you can walk people through the exact technique once more.
Okay, so I'm still rapping and I'm also pushing them over as I go. You can also do this at the end, but yeah, so I just slide them over because I want them to all be tight together so they don't really have any place to go once I'm done wrapping. And and then they stay. So I have an empty wrap in between them. I get another stone. Hold it in place. If you don't hold it in place, it's going to end up wherever it wants to end up, which is going to annoy you. So hold it in place. And then, so I've got the wire through. I'm going to make another blank wrap. And put another bead on. So what were you saying, Sam?
I finally, so I've been obsessed with the movie, like the newer version of Hairspray, just like my entire life. I've probably seen it like 60 or 70 times. And I got it again recently. I bought the movie and I've been watching it like in the background mostly while I like am working. And it's as good as I've ever remembered it, if not better. Fantastic movie. Highly recommend.
I like that movie. Yeah, that's a good movie.
And I finally convinced my sister to watch it with me, because you can actually watch it on, like, if you go to the Messenger app and like create a room with your friend, you can watch. It has movies you can watch for free.
It has movies in there?
Yeah, so you can like click watch together, and I watched.
I saw that, but it would only let me look up like YouTube videos.
Yeah, but if you go to the movies tab, it has free movies. They're not a lot of good movies, but it had Hairspray, so if it has one good movie at least. And
my sisters and I, when Hamilton came out, like did a Zoom where we just watched Hamilton.
Y'all watched together on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so good.
Yeah, my boyfriend says to me today, he was like, or maybe it was yesterday, he was like, I would like to see Hamilton. I'm like, are we getting rich sometime soon? Did you fall into some money that you didn't tell me about? The movie with Angela Lansbury is Bedknobs and Broomsticks, by the way. And yes, the Hairspray with John Travolta.
Of course. I actually, people are going to hate me for this. I think because I watched Grease finally a couple years ago. I think John Travolta's better in Hairspray than he is in Grease. Everyone leaves the stream. Everyone leaves. I mean, that's the movie that everyone fell in love with.
I feel like you either love Grease or you hate it, because I definitely have met some people that hate Grease.
Yeah, I watched like Dirty Dancing the same year, and I really think I like Dirty Dancing more than Grease. Very different.
Is there singing in Dirty Dancing?
No, not really.
When you were saying I finally watched, you said something, and I thought you were going to say Trolls, and I was about to be so excited.
I somehow still haven't watched it, despite you recommending it a half dozen times to me.
You have to watch Trolls 2 first.
Prudence, Johnny Depp was not in the recent Hairspray. I could tell you most of the cast. I don't know who was in the original cast very well, but the new one has like Zac Efron, Nikki Blonsky, Amanda
Bynes.
Who else we got? Queen Latifah. I love the guy who plays Corny Collins.
Oh, what's his name?
Yeah, I just saw him.
He's famous too. Is he the guy from?
He's in everything.
No, I don't remember. Yeah, he's in.
I was just watching Lee Daniels, the butler, and he was in that too, as playing. Oh my God, the pretty president. What was his name? JFK.
I thought.
What do you think I was talking
When you
about?
said the pretty president, I was like, it didn't occur to me that you were talking about like the actual president being pretty. I thought you were just saying like his character was or whatever.
No, well, I mean both.
Okay, so I'm nearing the end. That wire that I used to anchor around the little tail after I wrap this bead, I'm gonna cut that off because it is totally in my way now. And these beads on this side are not going anywhere. I love this. This looks like a little disco ball.
Matches your earrings.
Matches my what?
I said earrings, but I definitely meant nails.
I was like, am I wearing earrings?
You are wearing a very pretty necklace that I'm obsessed with.
Thank you. I'm obsessed with it too. All right, so I've cut off the little tail that I had wrapped around. I'm seeing if I need to tuck it. at all, but I actually think it's good. So again, I'm just going to push my beads in since now that I don't have that wire. I'm going to slide them all over. You want to, even though they'll kind of push back, you want to make sure you keep doing this, because if you try to do it at the end, because we've hammered the wire, again, it's not the same circumference everywhere. So if you've wrapped really tightly, you're not going to be able to push those beads over. I bet. Almost done with this.
Sharon says I have to watch Strictly Ballroom.
I've never heard of that.
I'm trying to think of the other dance movie. My dad's been showing me like all the classics
Step Up?
during quarantine.
Oh, not that.
not that. We watched like Chorus Line, and we watched
Dancing in the
Moonstruck,
Rain.
and I would gladly watch Singing in the Rain.
Oh, Singing in the Rain. Whoops. Okay. So I'm on my last
Wait, no,
bead.
Singing in the Rain is okay.
I'm on my last bead. I'm going to go ahead and just wrap it like we've been doing. And then I'm going to make, at this point, sometimes I'm able to push all the beads over and fit an extra bead in, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So I made the singular wrap, and then I'm just going to wrap it over however many times you did on the other side. So I've got 2 on the other side. And I'm going to snip my wire and kind of tuck it down. There we go. And then you can just kind of press all the beads out. Gets them to have good spacing, puts them in the right spot. Ooh, I love that. Okay. Next, we are going to, I totally lost my train of thought. We're going to make the top part. So I'm going to switch over to my 24 gauge wire. Again, you could have been using 24 if your beads allowed for it on this top part. And you only need a small piece of this, but not quite this small. I would give yourself like maybe like a few inches, 3 inches maybe for this part. You won't need that much, but I like to have working wire. So the reason I did this is because I didn't want to just put a huge jump ring over this. If you have jump rings that are an okay size and you want to use them, you can. But also ear wires, usually the loops go this way, so you'd have to twist the loop to go in the other direction to get the earring to hang right. And I'd rather just make my own component for that. So we're going to start with, let me get my little accent beads. Pick which one I'm going to use because I need to know these 2. So we're going to start with the 24 gauge wire, and we're going to make basically just a double wrap link. Sorry. Keep grabbing the wrong thing. All right. So you can make either loop you want to first. I'm going to start with the small loop that's going to be at the top. So I just bend my wire 90 degrees, bring this back over, grab my chain nose pliers, hold, and then just wrap a couple times. I usually do about 3 times.
Ginger says she's casting this stream onto her TV, but then also seeing the has her all the comments on her phone, which I think is just the most genius setup. And also, I'm just going to say hi, Ginger. Hello, how are you? Hello on your big TV, Ginger.
Hi. Okay. And then I'm going to thread my bead on. And I'm going to make this loop go in the opposite direction. And that's going to rectify the problem I was talking about with the ear wires. But on this loop, let me just do the little bend first, our 90-degree bend to give us space to wrap our wire. On this loop, we're going to make it a lot bigger to fit over here. So kind of, I don't know if it'll help you to look at your pliers. It's not helping me. I usually just guess. We're going to go like here, maybe. Wrap my wire around. I used a little bit bigger beads this time, so. And then you're going to just thread it on like you would thread on something else. Like if you were connecting two wrapped loops. Yeah, that was actually the perfect amount of space. And then for here, I like to actually hold it with the round nose pliers. Usually the tips, I don't know, get in the way less. So I'm just going to wrap my wire. And now you don't want this loop that you made to be too tight, because then it's going to catch on the beads and it's not going to hang right. And you can kind of adjust it with your fingers if you need to. There we go. My loop is sideways. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to wrap our bottom brio. I haven't actually wrapped these yet, so we'll see how that goes. So you can use your 24 gauge or your 26 gauge for this. It's up to you. I'm going to use, I think, the 24 gauge. That's what I want to use.
Yeah, I imagine for check glass, that would work fine.
Yeah. Somebody had commented that it looked like I used jump rings for this part. So this is actually just a normal messy wrap. It's very big. So I'm probably going to end up doing something like that kind of for this, but we will see. We will see what I'm feeling. For brio wraps, I usually give myself at least 4 inches for the small ones. For the bigger ones, I give myself like 6 inches. I don't always use that much of it, but again, I don't like to run short on wire when I'm using it. It just gets frustrating. So here's how I wrap my brios. I have a little tail and a big tail. And then I like to pinch the wire at the top. I think I actually am going to use my pliers for this because it is not pointy. It is flat. And this helps the wire from going anywhere. It also helps you get a good spot to start wrapping. And then I take my tiny tail. This glass is slippery. And I just wrap it around one time just to keep it anchored. I don't like to wrap with 2 wires because I feel like it's just more wire for me to tuck. I don't feel like there's really a wrong way to wrap a brio as long as it's not going anywhere. So whatever way you like to do it, absolutely do it that way. And then I grab the loops. You can give yourself a little extra space if you want extra space. I think I don't want extra space on this one. So I'm going to grab the loops and I'm just going to bend my wire so it still gives me a little bit of space. And then the loop at the top doesn't need to be abnormally large. It's fine. And the reason I'm not directly wrapping it on here is because the loop we made at the beginning of the hoop will open and close. So it's easier for me to finish my brio wraps not connected. I don't know about you.
I would concur.
So there's my loop. Just going to grab it.
One less thing that can go wrong.
Exactly. You don't have
or
to
just like
cut
one
it.
less factor to deal with while wrapping.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's look at this. So here's what
Have you not wrapped any of the arrows yet? Is this you said this is
No,
the first?
this is my first one. Yeah. I think I want it to be evident that it's an arrow, though, is what I'm thinking. So I actually don't think I'm going to wrap it to where it stays exactly where I put it. I think I'm going to give it so that you can still see the top of it.
Oh, that's pretty.
All right. Then I'm going to cut it off. And I'm going to hook it on. What time is it? We still have a little time. I'll go ahead and show the the variations too, unless anyone wants me to show something else again. All right, where's the ear wire? Ah. I need to oxidize these ear wires I made, so I've been stealing ear wires off of other earrings for all of my examples.
No.
Yes, I really have. So here's the earring. And let's play with some different bottoms.
Rachel, I don't think I would have ever thought of pink and pyrite, but I think I love it.
I don't know. I was looking, initially I wanted to do like a black stone, and I had like smoky quartz I think I had gotten from you. There's a cat hair on my Band-Aid. And I saw the pyrite and I was like, will it work? Oh, okay, it will. So
it's like the right amount of sparkle for those pink tones you have there.
I love this pyrite that you had gotten. It has such a nice weight to it. Okay, so now let's try out. Come on. We'll try out one of the little bulbs. That's cute. I'm gonna actually grab some. I'll grab my little scrap of 18 for this. I thought it would be fun if you didn't use. Is this the 18 or is this the 18? I thought it would be fun if we didn't use 20 would probably be better for this, but I'm going to use the little scrap at 18. If we didn't use a head pin for these little bulb beads. What do you call them? Pumpkins?
The melons?
Melons, yes. A pumpkin's a melon, kind of, right? No.
Pumpkin is a squash.
It's a squash, yeah. It's melon shaped. All right. So I thought it would be fun if I did this and then I dangled some wire off, or not wire, some chain off the bottom. I thought that could be cute too. This is a check glass melon in the, what do you call it? Is it the mint color on your website?
Yeah, I think so. That looks like you're using a 10 millimeter melon.
Sure.
I usually can tell through the camera. I think that's right. I'm going to post a link to all the melons in the comments right now if anyone wants to check out. I've got the 10 millimeter in a bunch of different colors right now. I'm really
I grabbed way too much chain. Oh.
It looks like I'm out of that exact mint one, but there are other colors of these melons available.
Come on. I grabbed such tiny chain for 18 gauge wire. All right. This is not my day. I think I had too much coffee today. I've been trying to
always
cut
have
back.
a lot of coffee, Rachel.
I've been trying to cut back at home, but I had 2 20-ounce mugs of it today. And
oh, wow.
It was a lot. I cannot loop this chain on. Hang on. Let me get a different chain. I can get like a big one. Do I have any pieces cut out of this? No.
Oh, by the way, for anyone watching, when you search Sam Speed Shop on Google right now, samspeedshop.com no longer shows up. And hopefully this will be fixed by my domain people soon. Because you know how it used to be samspeedshop.commentsold.com? I finally was able to change it just to samspeedshop.com, which is like, oh my God, I'll finally make life easier for all my customers. And then, of course, it doesn't show up on Google. So if you ever need to get to my website, just type in your URL box, samspeedshop.com, and just go directly there for now. Because I've had folks who have had trouble getting to the website, and that makes me sad.
So here's what it would look like with the melon on it and some chain. This chain is kind of
Ooh.
absurdly large for this, but
It's like a chain tassel.
yeah, it reminds me of the like lanterns from the Chinese New Year festivals and stuff.
Oh, actually that's my favorite variation so far.
And then I have other brios just to show you how to wrap them if you want. So I grabbed these carnelians, and then I also have these pink check ones. And they're basically going to be wrapped the same way. I'm going to use the pink check because then I can still use this 24 gauge. I'm going to use this little scrap, and I don't think it's going to be enough, but we'll see. So again,
I'm so glad we've convinced you to come over to the dark side of check glass.
I had this thing in my head where I was like, no, I only use stones. But you have drawn me in with some check I really do like.
It makes me so happy that because your orders used to just be 100% stones, and now we get.
They're still mostly stones.
They are, but now sometimes I get to send you some check too.
I've had to expand beyond my one box. I've expanded into my sea glass box. Yeah.
Very nice.
So I pinched it, and then I wrapped it around, and then I bent it down. I'm going to wrap it around again. This was an okay amount, I think. I don't think I'm trying to go over the top of the beads on this one. And if you want to do messy wraps, but you find that you struggle allowing it to be messy, my recommendation is that you just look up a little bit while you're doing it. So don't look directly at it. You look away and wrap. And that can help you steer away from perfection. By all means, if you want them to look perfect, do so. But if you're trying to go for a messy look and you struggle, all right. So there's this one too. So there's lots of different ways you can do this. And we could even get let's pretend like this is a head pin. Somebody is revving their engine a lot outside.
Ooh, party time. I hear some music.
I really hope that there's no music. I have to work at 5:30 tomorrow. I hope they are not going to blast music tonight. I pray. Okay, so pretend this is a head pin. And we can... So you don't have to have brios. You don't have to know how to wrap them. It's very versatile. You could even probably make another hoop with this, like, with a loop this giant and make it bigger and make like a snowman if you wanted to. Like hook them onto each other or whatever.
Links for a necklace, Rachel?
No.
Just a really obviously a very like labor of love necklace.
It's like a $500 necklace.
Yeah, pretty much.
So here it is if this was just on like a head pin. And that would be so pretty too. Just whatever you have. Wanda, I have 2 cats. I'm surprised.
Yeah, where's our cat? Where's our cat show? They're not. They always like to come say hi, but they're hiding today of all days.
Right before the stream, I looked at him and I said, "You better shut up." Because he was yelling at me before it. He likes to ask for dinner 3 hours before dinner time. I don't know where Oliver is. You say hi?
Oh, he's so cute.
This is Marauder.
Marauder, do you solemnly swear that you're up to no good?
He really is.
Aww. My heart.
He loves kisses. You want more kisses? Kisses? No? Okay, on the desk. That's fine too.
Now
Okay,
Marauder
bye.
will be. Oh, Marauder's going to show how to make the next pair of earrings.
Okay. So let's see. The chain, the itty bitty loop can put this together. Show the earring hook. Which part? Just like putting it on.
I think she wants to know how to make it.
My 20 gauge wire drawer is in there, but I can show you with the 18 gauge really quick that I have sitting right here. Let's just do a simple one though for right now. I'm working on a re-record for the other earring hooks, but for earring hook, you're just gonna 90 degrees. It's actually like almost exactly like we made. Oh, and I usually cut the wire too. I usually cut it to 2 1/4 inches when I make earring hooks. I just find that that's a good amount of space that works for me. And you could also put, like, if you're making an ear wire, you could put a bead on at the step and bend it. This is very thick wire, so that's not going to happen right now. But I'm going to bend here. Where's my Sharpie? Take your Sharpie, bend around. It's like exactly how we made the hoops, basically.
Right.
And maybe use a pen next time. This is kind of a big hoop, but use a pen, not the Sharpie. Okay, I just bent it funny, but that's cool. We're going to roll with it. And then I would cut it off. And then I usually take a pair of, you know, I check the names on all of these like every week, and I still cannot remember them.
The flat nose?
Yeah, they're flat nose pliers, but
the ones on your desk?
No, those are chain nose. The flat, no, I want these ones, the ones that are flat on top too.
Okay.
I like for this because the jaw is not tapered. So I take them on the end of the ear wire and I just usually flip it up. It looks a little bit more finished. It's not supposed to have the kidney bean look. I bent it. Trying to make it smaller, I bent it. I use, for mine, I use a stepped mandrel, which I didn't have any of this prepared because I didn't know I was going to be showing this. I use a stepped mandrel like this, or I use my bail making pliers. I use the biggest loop.
Well, Rachel will post a. We do actually have a tutorial on this. It's but we have an updated one coming out soon. Rachel's has a few videos in the works.
Yes. I've been having a battle with sunlight, my neighborhood, oversleeping, and chores.
That would do it. I
want to record it when the light is out because, as you could see, it was a lot nicer. But it's supposed to rain. That's the real reason I painted my nails, is for the videos, and then I didn't get to them. So.
Oh right.
The earring hook I would usually make with 20 gauge wire, and I would use half hard. This is 18, so ignore the fact that that's 18. I wouldn't usually. Some people do make all their earring hooks with 18, but I think that is just a little bit too big for most people's earring holes. If you've gone, like, I don't know, when I was growing up, everyone went to Claire's, and they didn't pierce with a hollow needle. They pierced with a earring. So those earring holes are not as big. But if you've gotten it pierced at like a tattoo shop, the hole will be bigger, obviously, because they're like taking a chunk of your ear out. But so I would use 20 gauge wire. I usually use half hard. That way it's not going to bend, like completely distort. If you go to put it in your ear, it's got a little bounce to it. But again, I will have a video on this soon.
Cool. Alrighty, we're just like coming at our hour mark. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up class here.
Thank you
I
so
hope
much for coming,
everyone
everyone.
learned a lot, and a huge thank you to you, Rachel, for as always sharing your wisdom with us,
Thank
and
you.
sharing
Thanks
your
for
just
having
creative.
me. Thank you.
Oh my God, of course, and just thank you for sharing all your creative bead happy energy. I appreciate it.
And thanks to everyone for coming. Everyone new, everyone old. We really appreciate you. Old as in has been to the videos before, not nobody's old.
And as we always say, if you make the project, go ahead and share it in the Gem Chat group, which I'll post a link to right now if you're not a member. That's the sister group to Sam's Bead Shop VIP, where we just chat about beads and stones and what we're making. So definitely share your projects there. Rachel and I love to see what people make after the classes.
I love it. My boyfriend's like, did anybody make anything that you made today?
My sister scrolls it, and my sister loves seeing the class projects each Saturday. She's like,
it's
oh my
so
God,
fun.
people really
Everyone's
made
so
it
creative.
This week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Those are my favorite texts. Alrighty, we're signing off. Wishing everyone a great Saturday. Tomorrow is New Beat Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2
hey,
p.m. Eastern.
What if you did post that album today?
I'm gonna try.
So we could just look at it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm definitely more behind than I was last week. You know, I left the office at 6 p.m. on Saturday, and that's in 2 hours, so that's not happening this week. But Jesse has all the photos done, so I will hopefully not be here super late. And
hang on, we have a couple questions. One, the class will be on replay. Give it like 5 minutes to reload. You can view it on Sam's Bead Shop Facebook page. Does it automatically go to YouTube now?
Yeah, it automatically posts to YouTube these
or
days.
On the Sam's Bead Shop YouTube page, you can see all of our previous classes in both locations. All classes taught by me and not taught by me.
Yep.
And the group we were talking about is a Sam's Bead Shop sister group, the Gem Chat. We love everyone in there.
Yes,
everyone
it's my favorite.
Posts such cool work.
Group.
Yeah. Thank you.
Alrighty. Bye, everyone. Have a great one.
Bye. Have a